let's chat. Hello everybody, welcome back for the 4th iteration of Smash Talk. We don't have a whole lot to intro for, so we're just gonna get right into the first question. Topic 1. Masahiro Sakurai is well known as the lead developer for Super Smash Bros., but he's also the creator of Kirby. What content might Sakurai be looking to include in Smash from the Little Puffballs franchise? Okay, so let's talk about the obvious then. Bandana Waddle-Dee, very popular character, and a lot of people are supporting them becoming a character in Smash. How do we feel about that?
Well, I think that Bandana Waddle-Dee does have a lot of attention. It would be interesting if he made it into the game, but I don't know if I personally would like to have him in the game versus another potential character that I have in mind. The character that I had in mind was Marks, but...
Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
Later.
Okay.
But I can see how Bandana Waddle-Dee could work. I mean, just from the Wii and Wii U games alone, with him like using the spear to attack and also using it like a propeller to fly and things like that. I can imagine them having a good setup, like he could have one of his specials throwing the spear. I just don't personally feel like he's a big enough character to get a spot, but again, that might just be me.
It'd be kind of like if there was a Goomba and they just gave him a hat.
Yeah, like if they put Pauline Goomba in or something.
Pauline Goomba. Oh, yeah, all right, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to that part of the discussion yet. We can discuss the Goomba with Pauline's hat getting into Smash soon.
I prefer her very tall boyfriend.
That's fair.
It's just 10 Goombas in an overcoat.
Waddle-Dee makes sense as like the most likely Kirby candidate, but that's a big if there is another one.
I can't quite recall, is Waddle-Dee still a part of DDD's moveset in Smash 4? Or is it just 4 now?
It's just 4.
Yeah.
So I guess he's freed up at this point to be potentially playable. I think the main reason that people are begging for him is just because he was the 4th playable character in Return to Dreamland. But, I mean, Bandana Waddle-Dee, the fact that he made it into Return to Dreamland was itself a surprise. And I'm not too sure that he's earned his position in Kirby. But yeah, I'm going to agree that there are other characters that could potentially be put into it. As Falshane said, there's Marks, and Marks just made his playable debut just a few weeks ago. So another reason that Marks would be likely, as opposed to any other Kirby character, is because Sakurai is just kind of weird about the Kirby franchise and representing it, and that he pretends that everything that happened to the Kirby series after he left, after like Superstar, does not exist. Marks is actually a character that he created, so if someone's getting it, it's going to be him. But there's no stages, there's nothing in Kirby beyond what Sakurai was running the show for.
I actually have a counterpoint to that. One, R.E. Marks, he did just appear as like it's a downloadable thing in Star Allies, right?
Yeah. I mean, free DLC.
I wouldn't say that really affects his chances for Smash because it just happened so recently, and Smash has probably been in development for a couple years now.
I would argue that this game has also probably been in development for just as long.
Yeah, fair. The other thing is, actually, I recently learned that the Yoshi's Woolly World stage was originally going to be a Kirby's Epic Yarn stage, but they changed it because when they found out that a Yoshi game was in development using the same art style.
Yeah, and the final Smash is based on Return to Dreamland, and there's some music in there from Trip of the Lux. But as a whole, Sakurai likes to ignore that part, and it's probably just because it's nothing's quite as iconic as Kirby's Dreamland and Superstar. Those are the two that everyone has played and everyone knows. And if you were going to draw from something, you'd probably want to draw from one of those two games.
I think the only thing that they might draw from a newer game would be his Final Smash, which I can easily see being the Robobot, because it's such a big, flashy, almost laughably overblown thing. But it would be really cool to just get in the robot and just stomp around and like drill into enemies and stuff for 10 seconds or whatever.
Do you think my man Deedles, his Final Smash, could be the buff Deedles as seen in Star Allies?
Oh, DDD.
We could only pray. The only other thing that I would really want to see DDD's Final Smash be would be like Mecha DDD or whatever his name is, where he wears like the metal mask and he's like got all the robotic parts and stuff.
Master DDD could be a skin for
that's true.
the existing DDD. In terms of how you could actually represent the post-Sakurai days in a Kirby character, it'd probably be Magalore, who's kind of become the face of that. Magolor was a prominent character from Return to Dreamland, and he's made several cameos since. He's been in pretty much every game since then.
He could probably play similarly to the other Kirby characters in that he'll have pretty generic looking attacks if he were in his normal state or in his like non-final boss state, which is where he kind of just looks like a blue sphere. But his final smash, if he were a playable character, would be him turning into his final boss form, which is where he's got like the glowing red and pink cloak and the jester tiara crown thing.
Further point on Marks, I'd say that something that he has going for him is that he already kind of has DNA in Smash, and that Taboo was basically a reskin of Marks.
Really?
He has all the same attacks and the same role in the story. Taboo just was borrowing very heavily from Marks.
Yeah, if you instead take the blue naked man and place in a goofy clown sphere, you'd basically have the Marks fight.
So if bosses appear in any capacity in this game, Marks could also appear as a boss.
Yeah.
That would be fine. I think he would make a phenomenal fit for that. That'd be great. I'm trying to imagine him as a playable character, and I'm having a little bit of a tough time, but it would be cool.
If Meta Knight could become a playable character, I could easily see Marks becoming a playable character.
Was he not playable in anything before he hit Smash? Wasn't he?
Marks or
couldn't you
Meta
play
Knight?
as Meta Knight? Couldn't you play as him in Superstar Ultra or something?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can. There was a mode for Superstar Ultra called Meta Nightmare Ultra, where you got to play as Meta Knight, but that was post-Brawl.
Well, I think that Meta Knight just became so iconic in regard to the Kirby franchise, and he's a, what I like to call, quote-unquote, cool character. So, I mean, it was very, very likely that he was a high-level candidate.
So edgy.
And, you know, Rosalina was able to make her playable appearance in Super Smash Bros. After only prominently appearing in Galaxy 1 and 2. So it's not unheard of to take one prominent game in the series and then highlight it with a character. Coming off of Marks' playable debut, I think he is pretty high up there in terms of iconic Kirby characters. Although, you know, if they're going to get more than 3, it's because Sakurai loves Kirby as his baby, and not that it really needs any more than the 3rd.
Fair enough.
I was going to ask if any of you thought there would be any good new Kirby stages from recent games.
It's not really recent anymore, but Magolor's ship? That was pretty cool. I like that, right?
Was that Star Cutter?
Yes.
I'm just assuming here, but isn't there like in the 3DS game, like the Hoffman thing? Is there something to draw from there?
Oh, yeah, that
Haltman.
Hoffman Industries, that Haltman, H-A-L.
Haltman.
I mean, all of Kirby Robobot, all the stages are to some degree highly mechanized looking. In fact, I would even say, I think the world is called the Final Arc or something like that.
The final May.
It's just this highly industrialized, like even the trees are replaced with massive light bulbs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Looking world, and that would be a pretty cool Kirby stage.
Yeah, I remember seeing the like mecha tree, Wispy Woods, in the trailer. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Wispy Woods, what happened to you? You got Eggman."
That's a good point, actually, because Wispy Woods is a staple Kirby character. Been in almost every game.
Holy shit!
And hasn't been
Boss?
Did we figure it out?
Boss?
Yeah, if they
Wait a minute. Well, hang on. Technically, he's a stage.
Yeah, he's been in 2 stages actually.
Oh, right. Well, I was about to throw out a stage, but yes, there have been the.
We do not need another Wispy Woods stage. That's not what we need.
We need 2 more.
There's about one more thing I can think of off the top of my head that would be cool from a Kirby game, in my opinion, and that would be, as I'm assuming it would have to be assist trophies, being able to get the animal companions.
Ooh.
And if you pick up an assist trophy and get one, depending on which one you get, they would do a different thing. Like maybe Rick, you could ride on a la Go-Goat. If you got Ku, maybe you could fly around a la having like the hover pack.
Just to be clear, we're talking about the fish, the hamster, and the bird thing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Rick's the hamster, Ku is the owl, and I never remember the fish's name.
That you know 2 of them is impressive.
Okay,
Kinda
Kirby's
Martini.
Dreamland 2 is one of my favorite Kirby games, and I will go down fighting about how great the game is.
And I know he's not an
Right.
animal friend, but do not discount Gooey.
Yes.
Gooey. I love Gooey. I have another stage idea that I thought of. One of the things I really liked about Smash 4 stages was that there were some really cool stylized ones. Like, we mentioned Yoshi's Woolly World, and there was the 3DS had the Pac-Man stage and the F-Zero stage that looked like the old retro games, and the Game Boy stage. So
I forgot about the Game Boy
recent
stage.
Kirby game was Kirby and the Rainbow Curse on Wii U, which used some beautiful claymation art style. I think a stage that was made out of clay and had this sort of like stop motion feel to it would just be gorgeous.
I would also love to see that stage. Although, as long as we're talking about stages, I just keep going back to, I think they got it right in Melee with Fountain of Dreams. Because that is like that's my favorite moment in Kirby, is the final boss of Nightmare in Dreamland specifically. But the Fountain of Dreams, if they could just go ahead and bring that back for me, that'd be great.
I personally am not going to accept this new iteration in the Smash Brothers franchise unless we get the Great Cave Offensive back. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it.
If you need any more evidence of Sakurai favoring his own game, rejecting the past, like, 5 titles, putting instead Great Cave Offensive.
Not my favorite stage.
I don't think it's anyone. Yeah, but you have 8-player Smash, and you can have everybody play in there. Yeah.
Next topic, I think. Topic 2. Super Mario Odyssey is Mario's most recent foray into platforming, and it was a massive hit. If you enjoyed the game, we're sure you have your own ideas. What would you want added to Smash from the game? Are we just gonna throw Pauline in as a potential character option?
Playable? She's not. I mean, I love her to death, and she is my mayor. But
that's why that's why I'm asking you guys instead of saying her name.
Yeah, no, she literally does nothing in the game.
Yeah, there's like no fucking. Why would they do that before they did that?
I think that the one thing that I would really love to see from Odyssey, aside from Cappy being one of Mario's new abilities, as a Mario player myself, I do not like Flood. I never did. And I would not be sad to see it go. And so I think doing something with Cappy instead would be great. But I would really think the most obvious thing to do with Odyssey would be to have New Donk City as a stage.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, yes. And now
that's
Pauline comes in as stage hazard Pauline.
I could imagine something like Pauline coming out and having a song bit a la KK Slider with like Jump Up Superstar playing or something.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have Mayor Pauline on New Donk City, KK Slider on Animal Crossing, Cass is coming in for Great Plateau. Every stage is going to have their own singer. Oh, the Squid Sisters, of course, for
I just like live performances.
I'm making fun of it, but I love that. I love it, and I hope they do.
I totally welcome that.
Falshane briefly mentioned Cappy as an included part of Mario's moveset. And although you specifically said no one is really a big fan of Flood, I think that'd be okay to get rid of that, even though Super Mario Sunshine is very near and dear to me. As long as Delfino Plaza returns as a stage, that won't be too heartbreaking. I don't want to see Cappy's eyeballs appear out of the hat at any other point other than that one move. Because
I agree.
Mario is Mr. Video Games. And if you reduce him to this one 2017 title, it's a little forgetful of your history.
Before we get too far away from the topic, I wanted to ask, so the Flood sprays out a whole bunch of water.
Yes.
And I know Squirtle used to do the same thing. Is there any other character that does something like that?
Greninja, technically?
Yeah.
Greninja does that? Yeah, you're right. Okay. I was wondering if they might do away with that entire concept. Everyone's least favorite or potentially favorite item, depending on how you looked at it, in the last game was the stupid the blower thing from Skyward Sword.
Oh.
Whatever that thing is called, it's awful.
There's like 3 items that we turn off whenever we play at my house, and the airbag is one of them.
It's not called an airbag. There's no way it's called an airbag.
No, it's probably got an actual name, but F that thing. I'm not gonna dignify it with its actual name.
The stupid blowy thing from Skyward Sword needs to go.
Oh no, Blowy Fan 5 just unsubscribed.
So the point that I was making was that they might do away with that whole like concept altogether, like they did away with tether grabbing, or not grabbing, but tether up specials, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think that maybe the blowing thing could afford to join that pile.
Gliding was another mechanic they removed.
That's true. They did get rid of that. I didn't really feel too strong about it.
In the interest of speeding things up, I believe they removed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Just for the record, and so that we don't seem like we don't know what we're talking about, it's called the gust bellows, by the way.
I knew that.
Who cares?
I like the idea of having a cap throw as a move, but I do not want like any kind of capture or control ability with that related. That would not be fun for the person on the receiving end. You know, what I think would be cool would be say if it's his new slide special, maybe they move the cape to down B. He throws it out, it hovers in the air for a little bit, and it could like hit people, intercept projectiles. But one thing he could do is if he touches it while it's in the air, like if Mario jumps on it or runs into it, he gets a boost upwards like he does in Odyssey. You can use it as like a mini platform, which would make it sort of an interesting but hard to use recovery move.
That sounds overpowered.
If you're knocked off the stage, you throw it out and you use your first jump to get to the hat. So you bounce up, then you can use your second jump and your up special.
Honestly, I kind of love seeing what everybody can do with their crazy freaking jumps in Odyssey. Yeah. they're like clearing entire levels now. I'm like, why? How are you even managing that?
Do you think they will incorporate rolling somehow into Mario's moveset, or
maybe his dodge animation, like his rolling dodge, would change to him just rolling?
Maybe his dash attack.
Well, rolling when I first did it in Odyssey was life-changing. Like, I live for the roll now. So even if it was just a visual change, that would be a nice little nod for me.
Ryu just starts side dodging across the stage without actually attacking.
Off the map.
Wave dash is out of the conversation.
Part of Wander's suggestion for how you could implement the side hat to his side smash now. He said that you move the cape down. So Falshane, you play the most Mario out of any of us. Is that something that you'd be okay with, having to move your cape to the down B?
It is something I would accept if it meant getting rid of Flood. But as somebody, I play a lot of characters, obviously some much better than others, and one character that I play but I know I'm terrible at is Charizard. And I will swear, maybe 1 out of every 3 times, about 1 out of every 3 times, instead of doing Rock Smash, I will just Flare Blitz myself off the stage and say, like, out loud aggressively, I'm glad they changed that.
Maybe if they changed the cape move so that it looked more like how it did in Mario World, where he just sort of spins around rather than waving it in front of him.
I mean, it all has to do with muscle memory. That's the problem. Because, like, if I know that I'm going to cape somebody when they're trying to recover, like, my brain is just set to move your thumbs in this direction, question mark, person rage quits. So that's really all that I would be concerned about. But I'm sure that eventually I'd get used to it.
What about that level where you could get the T-Rex? You could acquire the T-Rex. I feel like they put a lot of advertising stock into that particular stage, and a lot of people really like the T-Rex. So that could potentially be for a good stage option.
Fossil Falls, I think. Yeah, that's like the first proper level in the game.
Yeah, I would believe that could potentially be a stage. That would be really fun.
Well, while I can see that being a stage, I think more likely we would be able to see Bowser's Kingdom.
Yes, I love Bowser's Kingdom in this game, and that's probably because I'm a huge nerd. Yeah, don't even try to... Yeah, I'm gonna deprecate myself before y'all get a chance, okay?
Before we get too far into spoiler territory, some of the later portions of that game were completely hidden from marketing, and Bowser's Castle is one of them. The stage that comes after Bowser's Castle is also one of them. I don't know if Nintendo is comfortable blowing that one when it's been kept so secret.
It's been a while, but I don't blame... When they could just do New Donk City, that's not, like,
Yeah, I mean, New Donk City is their, like, advertising-friendly... I mean, like, that's It's like the 5th level or 4th level in the game. Like, it's not even early on, but it was the only stage I think they demoed. So
yeah,
that and the desert one.
The only thing I hope that they don't add from Odyssey are the Brutals.
Oh, you mean you don't want those to be a Koopaling reskin?
So, no, I'm not gonna. It speaks for itself.
I've seen quite a few people who thought the Brutals were very interestingly designed. Mama Brutal is the one that I thought was the most interesting design. And if she could be in as a hazard or an assist trophy or a boss, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Mario likes to have a lot of referential costumes and alternate skins and stuff. Do we think potentially maybe something from Odyssey might make it in there? You think maybe?
There's too many.
See also, what's your favorite costume in the game?
Either Pirates or Trunks Mario.
Let the plumber be naked.
I want the crazy Christopher Walken looking version. I want that one. The one that looks like Doc Brown.
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yes, frick.
Got your Chris's crossed. The tuxedo would probably, even though it's a game thing.
I mean, yeah, they made the amiibo out of Mario in the white tux. So if I saw any of their flashy outfits getting made into a alternate skin, it would probably be that one.
I think the most heavily marketed of the costumes was probably Chef Mario or the Golf All-Star Mario, which is actually already a skin. So yeah, think of that.
We are talking about Mario now, but what about Bowser and Daisy's outfits?
You mean Peach? Yeah.
Fucking.
Bowser's suit was pretty prominent, pretty awesome. So if they could include that in some way, I'm for it.
Yeah, I think he wears the tux for like 95% of the game, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I support it being added as an alternate color scheme, but he's much more realistic and scary in Smash than he is in the actual Mario games. So I'm not sure how good that would look.
Yeah, that's fair. If I had to pick an alternate costume for Bowser, and since it's already been in Mario Kart now, it would have to be Dry Bowser.
That's very fair. I want that so bad.
Yeah.
Great.
I love the concept of Dry Bowser, and now that he's been in Mario Kart 8, I just know that I've seen the Dry Bowser skin in like other M, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, but you know, who knows if Nintendo will actually use it.
Project M?
But as long as he's been in a more recent game with that skin, I could see them being like, okay, we can actually use that in Smash now.
Topic 3. And now the topic no one wants to hear. Cut characters. Brawl and Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS both cut characters from the last iteration. Which characters do you think may be in danger of getting the boot? Please note, we're people with opinions, and you probably disagree with them. Just enjoy the ride.
I think out of all the characters in Super Smash Bros. 4, the ones that are going to have the most difficulty getting back in are the ones who were DLC last time around. I think those ones are the ones who are naturally in last place in terms of who's going to come back.
I don't disagree that I think that they're a bit less likely than anybody that was there when the game launched, but I don't know if I agree that all of the DLC characters are all that likely. Like, if Cloud didn't come back, if Bayonetta didn't come back, I wouldn't be incredibly surprised, but I almost really don't think Ryu from Streets would be cut at this point, because did they blow their load on how cool they made him. like wow.
That's fair, yeah, and like the third-party characters, it all depends on whether their companies want them to come back, but Nintendo basically owns Bayonetta at this point, and Square Enix is putting a lot of weight behind the Switch, so I think they might be kind of safe. Again, it's impossible to say.
And of course, this all goes out the window if it's a port, because they're all coming back. Other than the third-party characters, which are all individual cases, then you've also got DLC characters like Lucas and Roy, of course, Mewtwo, who came back when they didn't make the cut the first time around. And if they didn't make it once, they might not make it again.
He'll be back. Mewtwo will be back. I'm counting on it. It's happening. How do we feel about the Framblam characters?
I would like to be fair with my everlasting love of Roy. If they could do to Marth what they did to Bowser Jr. and made like Roy and Lucina alternate costume, that would be
like that idea a lot.
Yeah, because it's basically what he is. So just putting him that way, where I can still have him, is close enough, I guess.
I think that doing that would solve a shitload of problems for the development team. I think that that's a great idea.
Dark Pit. I mean, you also they could even go one step further and like change the blade, because all of the difference is that Marth has the tip, Roy has the hilt, and Lucina is even throughout. I think that's how her blade works. So they could even change something as small as that with the costume, but they don't have to go that far. Just be cool.
I mean, the characters do have other differences. Like, for example, Roy's dancing blade attacks end with explosions, whereas Marth's and Lucina's don't. For example, and the way that Marth and Roy's, charging blade or whatever, their standard hold be, they also end differently. Marth's is designed specifically to shatter shields. Oh, shield breaker. Roy's is designed to cause an explosion around him, so...
If they used custom moves, they could easily just put in whatever differences Lucina and Roy might have had, and
Marth
then
with
that would be...
Okay. So, like, it would still be Marth, but one of his custom moves would be an explosion, right? No, they did that
exactly.
where, like, Ness had some of Lucas's moves, and Marth had some of Wolf's.
Yeah, they sort of did that already with the custom moves.
I don't think they did it true enough to the character they based it off. Like, I tried, for example, using Wolf's custom moves for Fox, and it just didn't feel like it.
I'm reminded of what Gamersaps, rest in peace, said a few episodes ago. He made a comment about how you could have, like other fighting games do, alternate move sets, like in a set that you could pick for your characters. And that would really allow you to reduce the clones down to a single slot.
Interesting.
On the Fire Emblem page, I don't know, really, I could see anyone besides Marth eventually working their way out of the system, but I just don't know about Fire Emblem to know when that might be for each one of them.
That is fair. Fire Emblem is like the Final Fantasy of Nintendo. Every single game are disconnected and connected at the same time.
Yeah. So honestly, I mean, I hear that Ike isn't overwhelmingly popular in Japan. I'm not sure why he's still there. Corrin and Robin, I mean, they were both the main characters of their respective games for recent titles, but you know, it's been a while, so do they still need to be there? I don't know.
For characters like Robin and Corrin, like their playstyle is really unique, and I'm sure they're somebody's favorite character. They'll be less likely to get cut, at least for the next entry, than someone like Lucina or Roy, who are more similar to Marth.
I have no arguments against that.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
If we use Lucario as a precedent, when he was revealed for Super Smash Bros. 4, there was actually a little blurb said about him where Sakurai said that he was a pretty late addition to the game, and the reason he was returning for Super Smash Bros. 4, despite not being relevant anymore, was because he meant a lot to the development team when they got him into Brawl. So, I mean, it just goes to say, any character that might not be very, very popular with the masses outside of Smash, get their own following within Smash and kind of become part of the Smash legacy.
I can speak to that myself as a big fan of Sheik in Smash.
Right.
It's true. They're never. I don't think they're ever going to get rid of Sheik.
Right.
I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah.
I think they're sticking around for a long time. So Lucario could possibly also be among those potentially without a job soon.
Yeah,
That would be
on
sad.
the lower
He's
end.
got
of the
an
spectrum.
entire game series that he belongs to.
Who else do we got? There's also Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario and Toon Link, I think, go into the same slot, mainly just because, you know, we already have the character, but they're doctors and small now.
Toon Link feels a little bit more unique to Link compared to most other clones, but I see what you're coming from. I think the main way to make safe that Toon Link will stay, the more you change the regular Link, the more Toon Link will be safe.
I would be surprised if they changed Link in favor of keeping Toon Link the same, but I also wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, there is also a precedent for that, because Dr. Mario took Mario's old down smash, the Mario
That's true.
Tornado.
That is true. Didn't think about that.
Thinking about those like 3 characters that were originally costumes and later became clones, I think they probably might do the same thing in this game, where they'll have like a list of characters that they'll initially plan to make costumes, and then if they have time at the end of development, make them into clone characters. So a character could recently be cut and re-added within the same game's development.
Do we got any other characters that we want to put forward here, boys?
Hey, actually, Lunar Halo sent us during our last Twitch premiere the question, speaking of which, the likelihood of Pokemon Trainer coming back as a character, question mark?
I would like it, but I don't really think Pokemon Trainer itself would come back. Probably Squirtle or Ivysaur.
Yeah, I don't see a ton of reason. A lot of people didn't really like the way that Bulbasaur recovered, and they didn't really like how a lot of Squirtle's, I think several of Squirtle's moves didn't do damage, or maybe it's just the one. But Charizard was definitely the popular of the 3 picks on that slot, right?
I found Squirtle pretty useful, especially with his withdrawal attack.
Squirtle was also pretty popular because, especially among competitive players, because he's very small and fast.
Regardless, I don't see a lot of hope. It would be nice. I'd love to welcome them back, but they might have a little bit of a tough time with it.
For me, the big thing with Pokemon Trainer is if they bring back the transformation mechanic, which I'm not 100% sure why they removed it. I want to say it because of the 3DS.
I think removing it was a good call.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think if I had to guess, the biggest reason transformations got removed, other than hardware issues, are because people don't want to have 2 different movesets under the same character. You know, you're either a Zelda main or a Sheik main, but it's hard to utilize both of them in a competitive setting.
Yeah.
Putting them into separate slots also makes the roster look bigger.
Well, not just that, but like the concept of transformation, not only does it slow the game down, but if you're playing in a one-on-one match, if you transform, then I'm just gonna sit there with like my charged smash attack until your animation finishes, or grab attack or something. Making yourself helpless for the sake of transforming, in my opinion, was always one of my least favorite parts of playing as Zelda or Pokemon Trainer.
Samus is a big offender, because you get
I agree.
Transformation.
I agree. It's the worst.
I would say it's the best way to balance that was to speed up the transformation.
Yeah, I mean, that could work, but I would find it very strange, just game design-wise, to have a feature, decide that that feature is unnecessary, remove it for one game, and then the very next game they're like, oh, by the way, we made a mistake on that transformation thing, let's bring it back.
And here's tripping!
Tripping? You guys remember gliding and tether grabbing? Here we go! Perfect.
Play Super Smash Bros. Brawl 2. It'll be great.
I mean, if they've got a story mode, it would be great, right?
Oh, I was going to ask if there are any other characters that we think might come back.
Pichu.
Well, I mean, let's see here. What does that leave? Pichu, Wolf. We've talked about Wolf on the show. I would love that. Ice Climbers, I would also enjoy that.
Ice Climbers are probably pretty likely to come back, since the only reason they weren't in the last one was because of the 3DS.
You know what? That's actually reasonable. I'm gonna say that the Ice Climbers are probably gonna come back this time.
Yeah.
I think that it would be the hypest thing in the world if the Ice Climbers came back, but they would very, very likely get what I like to call the Meta Knight treatment, which is they would get knocked down the tier list like 6 letters. I'm sure that anybody out there who played Brawl competitively is immediately having flashbacks to chain grabbing with the Ice Climbers until like 150% and then getting forward smashed while one of the other Ice Climbers held you in their grab and just losing a stock 0 to dead because an Ice Climber grabbed you.
Yeah.
Everyone welcome back the Ice Climbers without their grabbing function. All right. They just can't grab.
Can't grab, yeah.
They just cannot grab. That's the only change they made. I don't ever think Peach is gonna come back. There's no reason for it.
I mean, if the developers are just twiddling in their thumbs, because he was a fun gag character.
What about Snake?
Oh. Yeah, given all of the
Falshane, please, you be the one that says this, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
let me get my hold on, let me shuffle my papers here. Because of all the let's just refer to it what it is, bullcrappery that happened between Konami and Kojima, I don't think that Snake will be likely to join Brawl any further, and I know that that's not Nintendo's fault, but given that they own the character now, and I think that the major driving force of getting Snake into the game was really Kojima just wanting him in there. So now they really have no impetus to put him back in.
Yeah, I think most of us are in agreement on that one.
Yeah,
but
Konami...
what if Norman Reedus knew in Smash Snake's moveset?
Konami wants it, it'll happen, but I don't really think Konami wants that. I don't think they're especially interested in making it happen. I mean, I really liked Snake. I thought it was a cool. It was cool to have a character who specialized in like heavy weapons and explosives. So it would be amazing to see him come back, but I don't think it's super likely.
If nothing else, I'd love to see his moveset recycled.
Ryu, if his moveset was recycled, who do you think would take over that?
Is it Advanced Wars that was on the GBA?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Oh yeah. Young Link?
We didn't even mention him. We forgot about Young Link.
Oh, Young Link, but comes back with the Fierce Deity Link Final Smash.
Ooh.
I would actually like that.
They really could rework his whole moveset to incorporate the masks. Promoted clone to full character.
I question why Nintendo would bother advertising Majora's Mask right now.
Yeah, that's the main issue with that. Like, if they didn't do it for the 3DS remake, it's too late.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Skull Kid. I want you in the game, but it's you lost your chance. I think.
I mean, he became an assist trophy.
He did become an assist trophy, but I mean, the Majora's Mask remake has come and gone, and like, there's not really anything on the horizon for the characters. So it's like, yeah, you're probably staying there.
So I think we all agree that Ice Climbers are definitely the most likely character to come back. Yeah. And after that, Wolf?
Yeah, I'm down for that. That sounds wonderful.
He got a game, regardless of what game it was. He got a game. He got 2 games.
So yeah, of the characters that could come back, those are our 2 most likely. But we are curious, who do you guys think is gonna come back? And who do you want to come back? Who do you think might not return? We're also curious to hear about that.
Cut every character, only add more Pokemon. I'll literally just play Pokken.
I mean, yeah, I'll play that. Alrighty, everybody. It looks like that's gonna be the end of our discussion. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.